You can hear me.
Yes, we
Haribol.
can. Yes.
Okay, so maybe we try. I was just now thinking that I just cancel everything
No, no, no,
because
no, 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 no.
so
We can hear you.
you can hear me, but I don't know
Yes,
what
we
has
can.
happened now. I can't hear you. Haribol?
Haribol, we can hear you. Mataji, continue.
Okay, that's very good. That's very good. Okay, I'll just tell somebody that I am now online
Yeah,
and it's
I'm here.
working.
Okay,
Oh,
I'm
you are
here. I
here.
can hear you.
Okay, so it seems to be working, Balaji Priya.
Okay, thank you very much for letting me know.
Suddenly it's working, so I think I'll just try. Okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Now you just get on to giving your talk, Sawa.
Sava, Sava.
Yes, just on to your talk. Leave your Tanpura today. Haribol.
No, I have to at least sing for 3 seconds, 5 seconds.
Two.
Yes, Mataji, continue.
Jai Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Vijayamine Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Vijayamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shuddhavadi Paschatare Shuddharine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Radha Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radha Hari Ram, Hari Ram, Hari Ram, Hari Ram, Hari Ram, Hari Ram. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Am I still heard?
Yes.
Okay. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टां स्थापितां येन भूतले श्रियं रूपकदा मेघं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं, यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीननाथं। So welcome everyone. We are speaking today again on the topic of Sri Krishna's concert, Srimati Radharani. Last week, we spoke on the topic of her identity being identical with Krishna, and the Lord himself having divided himself into two for the purpose of exchanging love, for the purpose of experiencing the greatest happiness through relationship. And we heard how Srimati Radharani is completely a spiritual personality. Just as Sri Krishna's body is completely spiritual, Srimati Radharani's body, form, is similarly completely spiritual. She is, in fact, a manifestation of the spiritual potency of Krishna. So we discussed that last time. This time we will hear a little bit about the appearance and the activities of Srimati Radharani. And just as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yo Vedkitat Tataha. He says that his birth and his appearance and his activities are divine. They are not to be compared to material activities. So similarly, the appearance of Srimati Radharani is divine, and her activities are divine. The pastimes of Krishna are called Narakriti, which means they resemble the activities of human beings, but they are not the activities of human beings. And they are actually a display of Krishna's eternal activities on the transcendental platform. He descends to show, particularly in the land of Vrindavan, Krishna descends to show us who he is and what he does in his free time. And actually, Krishna only has free time. He doesn't work. Doesn't have to work as people have to in this world. He is the maintainer, the sustainer of everything. So we heard some weeks ago of the appearance of Krishna, how he appeared in the middle of the night. And when everyone was put asleep by his yoga maya potency, everyone was put asleep, and he secretly appeared and escaped from his place of birth and went to a place called Gokul. So nearby Gokul, which was a village, cowherd settlement, there was another place which can still be visited today called Raval. Raval is another village, and in that village lived another king of cowherds, Vrishabhanu. He was a friend of Nanda Baba. And his wife's name was Kirtida. And both of them had a great desire. These are pastimes which involve many lifetimes for those who actually become the parents of the Lord and the parents of Srimati Radharani. The parents of Krishna, both Vasudeva and Devaki in Mathura, and Nanda and Yashoda in Gokul, had performed severe austerities with the desire to have the Supreme Lord as their son. And similarly, Vrishabhanu and Kirtida had also performed austerities, but their desire was not to have the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their son. Their desire was to have the eternal consort of the Lord, the Adi Lakshmi, the origin of all the Lakshmis, Srimati Radhika. And they wanted to have her as their daughter. And so we understand that they are eternally in that mood of parenthood towards the divine couple. So they had performed lots of austerities, and they did get Srimati Radharani as their daughter in a way which was a little miraculous, a little strange actually. One day, Vrishabhanu Maharaj, morning, he went to the fields, some say next to the Yamuna. And at some point, there is an account which says that he was actually digging the ground. And there appeared quite a large size lotus, an effulgent lotus, which was shooting out light. And remember, there was the same kind of presentation when Krishna appeared. There was lots of light manifesting. The effulgence of the Lord appeared first. So here Vrishabhanu Maharaj became very intrigued looking at this lotus. And as he came closer, seeing that some effulgent rays of light were coming out of this lotus, he came closer. And as he looked inside the lotus, intrigued, he saw a baby. There was a little baby there with the little feet up and the little hands up, was lying in the central part of the lotus. The baby was very beautiful, and upon examining the body, Vrishabhanu understood that it was a girl, a beautiful girl who was golden in complexion. And so Vrishabhanu took the baby, and he and his wife had been praying for a daughter. So they were he was very happy. He somehow thought, by providence, I have found this girl. So he took her back to his palace, and he brought the daughter to Kirtida, telling her that, I found this baby, and we shall keep her, and she shall be our daughter. So that was a miraculous appearance of Srimati Radharani. She did not exactly appear from the womb of Kirtida. She simply manifested herself in the form of a tiny little baby She was very, very beautiful. The color of her skin was golden and very pleasing. Her body was extremely soft, and she looked very, very beautiful. So there was great joy in the family and in the entire village when they came to know that Vrishabhanu got a daughter. So everyone was very, very happy. But at the same time, as the hours passed and the days passed, unfortunately, there was something with this little baby that was not quite normal. And everybody became very sad. After being very happy, they became very sad. What was the problem? The baby's eyes were closed 24 hours, constantly. The baby was not opening the eyes. And another thing was that the baby was not making any sound. The baby was silent, not even crying. Baby was completely silent. So this very much worried Vrishabhanu and Kirtida, that what kind of daughter has destiny given us? It seems that she is blind. And it also seems that she might be dumb, no speaking and not seeing. So we always say harsha shoka. The child becomes the source of both happiness and distress. So in this case, this was very much like that. They were very distressed, hearing or seeing their daughter not being developing in a regular fashion. In the meantime, someone was wandering around. Who could it be wandering around? Srila Narada Muni was wandering around. Why was he wandering around? He was wandering around Braj, the land of Braj. Why? Because Narada Muni, being very knowledgeable, about like a year before that, Krishna had appeared. And Narada Muni knew everything about it, and he knew that Krishna has descended. So now Narada Muni knew that all the associates of Krishna are also descending. And out of all these associates of Krishna, he thought of Sri Radha, that wherever Krishna goes, Sri Radha will follow him. She will also appear. She will also be there. So he, having had the darshan of Krishna, he now wanted the darshan of Radha. He wanted to see her. So how to do that? In the Vesh of a sadhu, he wandered from village to village. He was doing Brajmandala Parikrama. He was going from village to village, from house to house, on the plea of begging alms. He would speak to all the people. And everywhere he went, he had the same question. Is the family well? And he would ask the question, do you have any children? He would ask everywhere, do you have any children? And people would answer, yes, no. And if they answered yes, immediately Narada would ask, how old are they? Grihasthas are always very happy to speak about their children. So he made the entire villages very, very joyful, asking about the children. People would bring their children for darshan, and he would bless the children. So everything was going very well. But whenever he heard that the child was 5 years old, 7 years old, 3 years old, or even 2 years old, he was not interested. And he would just move on to the next place. Until the day that he reached the house of Rishabhan. He came in and he asked the same question. Oh, do you have any children? Rishabhan answered, oh yes, I have 2 children. One boy, one girl. And how old are they? So then the Vrishabha Maharaj answered, and they were already several years old. So again, Narada Muni was, oh, not this house. It's not here. Because he believed that she would have appeared very recently, either at the same time as Krishna or after him. So he was looking for that kind of baby that has appeared very recently. So he was a bit disappointed, and he was taking his leave when Vrishamanu somehow started thinking, he's a saintly person. Maybe he can bless this little daughter that has just come to us. So I said, wait, Maharaj, wait. I have another daughter, one more daughter. So Narada Muni said, oh, yes, you have some other child. And Vrishabhanu said, yes, just very recently, we got a daughter. Then Narada Muni became very interested. And he said, can I see her? Can I see the daughter? So Vrishabhanu said, and Narada Muni said, well, why didn't you tell me before? So then Vrishabhanu told him, actually, there is a problem with the daughter, is that she's blind and dumb. So that's why I didn't want to tell you. But Narada Muni said, no, but let me see her. Let me see. So Vrishabhanu brought Narada Muni inside the palace, and he took her to the room where the baby was kept. And as soon as Narada Muni entered the room and he saw Srimati Radharani on a little cot, immediately he understood. Immediately he could perceive the power coming from that baby. He could understand that this is not an ordinary baby. And he became so excited. He became overwhelmed with love for his, when you say mistress, we say that is, she is for him everything that he wants to see, everything that he wants to serve. So Narada Muni was stunned in ecstasy, looking at the small baby. And Vrishabhanu didn't quite understand what was going on. But there was one thing that Narada Muni wanted, is that he wanted to be alone with that little baby. So he could offer prayers, so he could declare his surrender and his love to this little baby. So he made up some kind of story so that Vrishabhanu would leave the room and go somewhere. There are different versions of it. Sometimes it is said that Narada Muni began to advise Vrishabhanu that you should hold a grand festival. You should hold a grand festival to celebrate the appearance of this girl. And everyone will come and give their blessings. And you should invite all the Brijvasis, all the people that you know, everyone around Braj. You should invite all of them. You should give out in charity. And this will be very, very good. It will be very good. So Vrishabhanu got busy preparing, announcing the festival, preparing the festival. And in the meantime, Narada Muni found himself alone with Srimati Radharani. And it is said that he started offering his prayers. And something again very miraculous happened, is that this baby appeared in a full-fledged, full-grown form of Radharani as a Kishori in her original, eternal form. Krishna is known as Navayauvana, which means that his transcendental spiritual body is always new, fresh. It doesn't wrinkle, it doesn't go old. Krishna is eternally something like 16 years old. And Srimati Radharani similarly has an eternal form, which is around 14 years old, a little younger than Krishna, more or less. So she displayed that beautiful form as Kishori. She stood before him in that form, wearing a beautiful sari with her beautiful lotus eyes, and her hands and her arms hanging very elegantly on both sides of her body. She stood on a lotus. Narada was having that vision, and he was completely stunned. So in this way she appeared. And Vrishabhanu organized the festival that Narada Muni was suggesting. A few days later, hundreds of Brijvasis came to Rava to celebrate the birth of Srimati Radharani. They brought presents of all kinds. They brought grains, they brought yogurt, and that is the kind of presents that agriculturists exchange. They brought different kinds of pigments. They brought jewels, so many things. And amongst them, Nanda Baba came. Nanda Baba, Yashoda, Rohini, and the children. Krishna also came. So while the festival was going on, adults were talking to each other. There were songs, bhajans, dancers. It was a big reception. So Krishna noticed that all the people who would come in, somehow they all visited one room somewhere. They all would go there and come back. They were visiting Radharani. So Krishna, also intrigued, crawled. By that time, he was not yet standing on his feet. He escaped the vigilance, surveillance of Mother Yashoda. And he went into that room and he started looking, what's happening here? Why does everybody come here? And then he saw that in the center of the room there was this hanging basket, and everybody would come and would look inside the basket. So Krishna thought, I gotta do the same and see what is in the basket. So he approached, he crawled next to the basket, and then he crawled on the basket, and then he looked inside the basket. And what did he see? Oh, such a beautiful baby. And exactly at that time, when little Krishna looked inside the basket, Srimati Radharani, understanding his presence, feeling his presence, smelling the fragrance of his body, she immediately recognized him. And what did she do? She opened her eyes. She opened her eyes, and her eyes met Krishna's eyes. And this is the eternal pastime of Radha and Krishna. They're simply looking at each other in their eyes and feeling so much happiness. They are exchanging their love through their eyes. So Srimati Radharani opened her eyes, looked in the eyes of Krishna, and felt so much happiness. To understand why all this happened, you have to go back all the way before their descent there in Golok Vrindavan. Krishna announced, oh, the time has come for me to go to the material universes. I shall descend. So, and he was asking Radharani, you come with me? He said, we are going. We are descending. Radharani said, going where? Going where? I'm not going anywhere. Radharani belongs to Vrindavan. She is Vrindavaneshwari. She never comes out of Vrindavan. She doesn't want to come out of Vrindavan. Why? Because it is in Vrindavan that the sweetness of the pastimes with Krishna is the greatest. Vrindavan is the place where Krishna can enjoy the most. In Vrindavan, the mood of the Vrijabasis is very sweet and intimate. By the power of Krishna's Yoga Maya, none of the Vrijabasis actually understand that he's God, and they relate with him as one of us. He's one of us. He does the cow herding with us, and he was born here in the same village, and these are his parents, and so they see him as one of them. All the Vrijabasis see like this. So when they meet him, there is no question of holding one's hand, offering obeisances, offering a verbal homage. This doesn't happen in Brajbhumi. It doesn't happen in Brajbhumi. Everyone is simply serving Krishna in an intimate way, either as a friend or as a parent or as a conjugal lover. There are different kinds of relationships. So the idea was that Radharani did not want to go anywhere outside of Vrindavan, not for her personal comfort. That's not what she was thinking about. What she was thinking about is that Krishna is the most happy when he is in Vrindavan. That's where he has all these very personal communications with his devotees. And this is the place where he is most happy. So if we go anywhere else, Krishna is not going to be that much happy. So therefore, I don't want to go. You should just stay here. However, the descent of Krishna is irrevocable. Krishna said, I'm going, we are going. That cannot be stopped at any time. So, Radharani was arguing that I'm not going. I'm not. She had a little contrary mood. No, I'm not going. I'm not going. Wherever there is no Yamuna, and wherever there is no Govardhan, no Vrindavan, I cannot go. So please let us stay here. So at that point, Krishna manifested first the descent of the Dham. The Dham descended on the earth. And Govardhan manifested, Jamuna manifested, the dust of Vrindavan manifested. And then only Radharani agreed, okay, now we can go. Because there is a replica of Vrindavan in the earthly Vrindavan. So in this way, Radha and Krishna met. She was looking at him and he was looking at her. And their hearts were united. And this union, this yoga between Radha and Krishna, they are actually the cause of the bliss of all the living entities all over the universes. And then the next thing that happened is that Radha, in her excitement, not only she opened her eyes, but she also opened what happened next is that Radharani opened her mouth. After opening the eyes, then she opened her mouth. And what did she do? She spoke out her first words trying to say Krishna, but being a baby, she actually cried. And the Brajbasis immediately heard and they called, Kirtida, come, the baby's speaking. So Kirtida came, and when they came, they saw there was a little commotion, because Krishna tried to climb over the basket was a bit tilted, the baby was crying. So Yashoda took Krishna and made him a little peaceful, and Kirtida took this beautiful girl and she saw what has happened. Look at the blessings of the Brajbasis. The baby's eyes are open. So beautiful. And she's crying. So the joy returned and multiplied in the heart of the Brajbasis. And this was what would we say, the full-fledged appearance of Srimati Radharani. Because besides not wanting to descend in the material world without Vrindavan being there, she also had told Krishna that I don't know, you send me there, I don't want to see anyone else but you. So when I go there, I will not see anyone but you. And this is how it manifested here on this earth, that she just kept her eyes closed until the day she smelled, and opened her eyes. She knew Krishna is here. She knows his fragrance. Krishna's bodily fragrance is very amazing. very attractive for all the gopis. So there was this great festival in Bravo. And we should understand that at the same time, in several other villages, the associates of Srimati Radhika also appeared. Sri Lalita, she also appeared somewhere not very far from Varshana. Srimati Lalita appeared, Champakalata appeared in another village. Chitra also appeared. These are all eternal associates of Radha. 8 of them. We know them as Ashta Sakhis, the 8 friends of Srimati Radharani, who will be around her throughout her pastimes. Vishaka also appeared, Tunga Vidya appeared, Vishaka, Induleka, Sri Devi, Su Devi, who were sisters, they all appeared. Either, most of them, they appeared just after Radharani. Srimati Lalita appeared just a few days before Srimati Radharani. So Srimati Radharani actually stayed in Raval. As we said, her father and Krishna's father, they were very much connected. They were friends. So they used to visit each other's house. And but so many things started happening as soon as Krishna arrived in Mahavan. Many things started happening. Demons started attacking, and we all know the story of the Shakatasura. Krishna, the Asura took the form of a cart, a heavy wooden cart, and somehow Krishna was put under that cart to just rest, to relax. And the demon worked in such a way that the cart was about to fall over the baby because it was very heavy. The idea was that this would kill the baby. But this is not what happened. The cart, as it was coming down onto Krishna, was kicked by Krishna's 2 little lotus feet and split into so many pieces. There was a great commotion. And everybody went and came to see what has happened. Another incident, actually, there was another incident before that. It was the incident of Putana. That Putana, a witch, she was the first of a great list of demoniac beings who came to try to kill Krishna. So Putana had come, Shakatasura had come, and then finally, in the end, there was the incident of breaking the Yamal Arjuna trees, and Krishna stealing the butter, breaking the pot of butter that his mother was churning. And so it appeared that many inauspicious activities were going on after the appearance of Krishna. The people were kind of apprehensive. So as this last incident took place and these 2 huge trees were broken down, and when people come to see what's the matter, they heard this huge sound, 2 big trees coming down. They came to see what's the matter, what has happened. So at that time, Nanda Maharaj, consulting his brothers, he started thinking that this is no longer a safe place. We have lived here for many, many years, and it was very peaceful. But now it is no more peaceful. So many demons are coming to attack. We don't understand why. So they decided to shift. And because Vrishabhanu and Nanda were friends, Vrishabhanu's family and all the cowherds attached to him, they also all left. They all packed up all their belongings. It said in one day only. You can imagine. That was called simple living, high thinking. If we are asked to pack our room tomorrow morning, it may take us the whole day and still there will be stuff around. So when Krishna was about 3 years old, they all packed up and they crossed the Yamuna. So Krishna and Balaram were riding on one cart with some nurses around taking care of them. It was very difficult to take care of them because Krishna had just one idea in his mind, which was to jump off the cart and find Radha. So, so in this way, Srimati Radharani also shifted from Raval. She was born there, but after some years she shifted. They stayed in a place, if you know Vrindavan, which is nowadays known as Chatikara, about 8 kilometers from Vrindavan. They stayed there for some time. And then they proceeded to Nandagaon. Actually, the ancestors, some of the ancestors of Nanda Baba, they had originally migrated from Nandagram and shifted to Raghur. So now they were just going back there. And this Nandagaon happened to be in the greatest of the 12 forests of Vrindavan, which is the Vrindatavi, or the actual forest of Vrindavan. So Srimati Radharani spent some time, not very far from Krishna. And then later on they shifted to Nandagaon. And while there was Nandagaon is an area where there are a few hills. Otherwise the landscape of Vrindavan is quite flat. But there are a few hills in Braj, like Kedarnath, Badrinath, they are in the hills somehow. So Nandagaon, Nanda Maharaj established himself in a village called Nandagaon. And very close there, a few kilometers away, like 7-8 kilometers away, Vrishabhan settled on top of a hill which had 4 different peaks. And he decided to just stay there, do some personal, decided to stay there. So gradually, Radha and Krishna came to meet. When Krishna was small, he was mostly interested in playing, and he was very satisfied. He was very satisfied with the parental love of his parents. But then as he grew, then he became interested in playing with young friends. And as he grew a little further, which was when he became like 7 years old, then he started looking at the gopis. And he accepted one more relationship, the taste of another relationship, which was Madhurya. And so there are many pastimes of Radha and Krishna by which they meet. They meet at different times during the day. Radharani and her friends are always making excuses how they'll be able to meet Krishna and the Gopas in the forest. Because the boy, starting age 6, they started going out in the forest to herd the cows, and they were away for the whole day. So the little girls at that time, headed by Srimati Radharani, smart, they could not go to the forest with the boys. In fact, the first day that Krishna left, the girls were trying to run behind. They didn't quite understand why we can't go. But they were pulled back by their parents. Girls are not going in the forest, only the boys are going. So then the girls started thinking, what is this? Girls are not going to the forest. Then they started inventing all kinds of excuses, such as there is a festival, we want to worship some deity, we need to pick fruit, we need to pick flowers. And in this way, the girls would be out in the forest with baskets and this and that, and they would pick like a few flowers. But the main thing was they would locate the boys and somehow they would try to meet Krishna. So these were the pastimes of Krishna for all the years that he stayed in Vrindavan, that they would meet. And they would meet particularly around midday, between 12 and 3 o'clock during the day. Usually this was the Madhurya pastimes time. Krishna would escape from the midst of the boys. He would, and sometimes the boys would just take rest, 12 o'clock, or they would take rest, and as soon as they would fall asleep, Krishna would escape. And he would go and meet Srimati Radharani, meet the gopis, sometimes usually in Govardhan, in Manasi Ganga, or in Radhakund. They would meet, have water sports, have flower fights, very beautiful pastimes. One time I must explain that I was at a Janmashtami festival in a temple in India, and they were having cultural programs. And there were children from starting age of 15, 16, they were doing some dances, they were doing the rasa dance, they were doing different kinds of dances. And what they were first the elderly children were presenting. But at the age of 15, girls are looking like women. They are not small children anymore. And when they were enacting the rasa dance, I was looking like many people were looking, and it was confusing and a little disturbing to see these beautiful girls, but we are in material conditioning, and looking at these beautiful girls dancing and going around and with one Krishna in the middle. It was looking okay, but at the same time, I was wondering, there was something there that emanated from their bodies, which was not quite right. And then the first dance was over. Then the next dance came, and these were smaller ones. Those ones were 10 years old, and they were doing some whatever, enacting some pastimes. Then came the 6-year-old. And like this, it came down and down until came the 3 to 5 years old, the last group of kids doing again the rasa dance. And when they did the rasa dance, then I saw, yes, that's very beautiful. This is very beautiful. What was very beautiful about it, there was innocence. there was no lust which had yet appeared, neither in their bodies, neither in their minds. And I thought, yes, this is the rasa dance, which Prabhupada many times explained that the gopis and Krishna, their pastimes, although resembling the affairs of young boys and young girls, are not at all the same. Because the desire to enjoy the karma, the lusty desires are not there. The karma is replaced by pure love, in which there is only the desire to give. So the love of the gopis and the love of Srimati Radharani is greatly praised by our acharyas, and Srila Prabhupada has explained the purity of their desire to please Krishna. So this is Srimati Radharani. She started from quite young age to actually associate with Krishna. Kirtida found out that Srimati Radharani had a boon. She had been blessed that whatever food she would cook, whoever ate that food would forever be healthy. So when Yashoda found out, talking with Kirtida, that Radharani had that boon, then immediately Yashoda started thinking that then she must cook for my Lala. She must cook for Krishna. So this arrangement was made, and this arrangement continued even after Srimati Radharani got married. She got married to a gentleman named Abhimanyu. And she left Varshana. She left Varshana and went to live in another place called Javat. And from Javat, she would walk every day and go to Nandagram, and there she would cook for Krishna. And of course, having cooked for Krishna, she would get the remnants. She and the gopis, they would get the remnants of Krishna after he finished eating. So there were quite a few times during the day that Krishna and Radharani got to associate with each other, look at each other from the corner of their eyes. So these are some of the pastimes of Srimati Radharani. As we know, she suffered great separation after Krishna left Vrindavan. Krishna left when he was around 11 years old. He was taken away by Akrura, and he went to Mathura to rejoin with his parents, Vasudeva and Devaki, and to enter a different phase of his pastimes, in which he would mostly be killing demons and establishing dharma for many, many years, until he wound up his pastimes when he was around 125 years old. So when Krishna returned to the spiritual world, the Vrindavan became unmanifest, and all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they also returned to the spiritual world in different ways. So Srimati Radharani, she lived in Vrindavan the life of a coward girl, Like Krishna would take care of the cows, she would also take care of the cows. She would also milk the cows. She would also, she was churning butter. She was doing house chores. And she wandered a lot in the forest, going to fetch water, also serving as, as you say, for the trade, the Vaishyas, the cowherd men and women, they would get so many milk products, and they would go to a nearby village, or they would go to Mathura to do a barter, to exchange the milk products for some clothes, some cloths, some other items. And the girls would carry, they would go. So they would carry big, big pots on their heads, and they would traverse the forests, go through a pathway in Govardhan, and they would go to sell their products. And as that, so that was the life of Srimati Radharani, walking through the forest. And wherever they would go, they had only one thing in their mind, is where is Krishna gonna be on the way? And usually they were quite organized, including Vrinda Devi, one of the gopis, would be very expert at organizing the meetings of Radha and Krishna on daily basis. On daily basis, they would meet somewhere. And usually this was indicated from the early morning that Krishna would leave. There was an indication of where they would meet. And then the messengers and the messages would be sent. Some of Krishna's friends acted as what is called the Narmasakas, and they were aware of his dealings with Srimati Radharani. Many of his friends were never aware of that, but some of his intimate friends were aware of his pastimes with the gopis and his pastime with Krishna. And they would send messages to the girls and saying, okay, today, Krishna is going to such and such forest, such and such place, and the meeting will be in such and such place. And so they wandered in the forests of Vrindavan. So there are many, many pastimes that have been mostly some in the Puranas, and many of them have been revealed by the Goswamis, by the previous acharyas, who actually in their meditation in trance witnessed those pastimes and wrote them down. And we can take advantage of that. But at the same time, it is very difficult to understand the dealings of Radha and Krishna unless our heart becomes very much purified. So we are actually encouraged to read of the pastimes of Krishna. Initially in our spiritual life, we read Krishna book. This is the book that Srila Prabhupada gave us right in the beginning of the movement. Before translating in early cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, he translated the 10th canto in the form of Krishna book. And there he presented the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. But he presented them in such a way that there is no way that we can start thinking that this is mundane story. It's a mundane story. Because Srila Prabhupada intermingles constantly the tattva presentation and the rasa presentation. So we pray to Srimati Radharani to bless us. Srila Prabhupada actually encouraged this, said that the devotees actually pray to Srimati Radharani. We pray to Krishna, but Srimati Radharani is the manifestation of Krishna's compassion. She is the manifestation of Krishna's love. Prabhupada sometimes calls her the mother. And Krishna says, Aham bija pradapita. I am the original father of all the living entities. So similarly, Radha is like the mother of all of us. And she is extremely gentle and extremely merciful. And she is the one who recommends us to Krishna. And whoever she recommends is immediately accepted by him. So we are in the authority line of Srimati Radharani. And very happy to be. She's very beautiful. She's very gentle. There are 26 qualities of Srimati Radharani which are presented. And some of the qualities are a little funny. Like she's also very cunning. She has quite a very varied and enchanting character. She's a heroine, she's a heroine. And she has many followers. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimati Radharani ki jai.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you very much for this. Our humble obeisances to you. Dandavat Pranam. Please, if there are any questions, can you please, there are none on the chat. I think everybody was mesmerized. You took us to Vrindavan, and this pastime has enlightened and cleared a lot of doubts, especially in my mind. But if there are any questions from any of the devotees, kindly please raise your hand, unmute yourself and ask the question. Yes, Hemrupa, JPS. Mataji, please ask your question. Please unmute yourself, Mataji. Hemrupa, JPS, Mataji. Okay, we can take a question from Hetu Chaitanya Dasa. Please unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
As you mentioned, Krishna was here for 125 years before he went back to his abode. What about Radharani?
Yes, the pastimes of Vrindavan were wound up around that time. Krishna was the first one to leave. Krishna left, and after him, the Vrijbasis, the land of Braj, became unmanifest. The Vrijbasis left, and then the queens of Dwarka left, like that. Different groups, one after the next, they wound up their pastimes and they left. So Srimati Radharani stayed. She was waiting for Krishna to return, because Krishna said, I shall return. So she was waiting for Krishna to return. But ultimately, although Krishna did return once to Vrindavan, but other than that, he really did not return. But still, they were there. Yes.
So, Hetu Chaitanya Prabhu is from Nairobi, our very close congregation of Nairobi Temple, lives in Golok Dham. Happy he's here, and I'm very happy he's asked a question. So, in pursuance of Hetu Chaitanya's question, so how do we understand this Bhoma Vrindavan that Radha and Krishna are there? That this Vrindavan is a replica of the spiritual Vrindavan. So if they left, so what is the understanding of the present Vrindavan? I mean, it's called Bhoma Vrindavan, right?
Bhoma Vrindavan. Is Bhoma Vrindavan. See, Golok Vrindavan is eternally manifest. But Bhauma Vrindavan is sometimes manifest and sometimes unmanifest. Currently, Bhauma Vrindavan is unmanifest. If you go to Vrindavan, you will not see exactly the same things which are described in the Krishna book. You will not see that opulence. You will not see millions of cows. You will not see, for most of the time, you will not see any clean water in the Yamuna. You will not see like abundance of fruit and flower trees everywhere. You will not see these things in Vrindavan if you go now, because that manifestation has been withdrawn. And Radha and Krishna eternally actually enact their pastimes in Vrindavan. And Bhauma Vrindavan is not different from the original Vrindavan. But we cannot perceive those pastimes. They became perceivable 5,000 years ago. Now they are not perceivable. So the pastimes are there. Radha and Krishna are there. But they manifest themselves only to perfected devotees, those who have attained bhava, prema, the bhava bhaktas. Some of them have darshan of Radha and Krishna, but the common people do not see them. So this is what I will explain. It's called prakat and aprakat, manifest and unmanifest pastimes.
So that means the Goswamis, they actually, whatever pastime we hear about the Goswami and Radharani serving, so that's for them it's prakat, yes?
Yeah, at that time, Srimati Radharani becomes manifest and she appears. Yes, she manifests herself. Yeah.
So in other words, they are there, but it's our eyes that is not able to see them because we are not qualified. Yes?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Explains.
They are seen with the Premanjana. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hidayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shyama Sundaram Achintya Guna Sarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The people whose eyes are anointed with the kajal of love, they can see Radha and Krishna in the Tapa. But for those who are still contaminated with lust, greed, anger, and all their friends, then that vision is not there.
Good. Over. More questions, 7:30 anyway. Kritika
Okay,
can.
so there are questions from Varsana Ishani Dasi. Mataji, please, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, Mataji, धन्यवाद. Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances unto your lotus feet. Mataji, my question is on Radhastami festival, we are celebrating Radharani's birthday, and we do kirtan and abhishek, bhoga, everything. But what is Radharani's actual mood on that day?
Can you repeat what is Radharani's actual what?
Mood on that day? What she expects from us and gopis, and what she do? What is her activities on that day? So can you please explain this?
Well, in the past times on the birthday, all kinds of auspicious ceremonies are performed, including Abhishek. So this is what people do during, and usually during the birthday, the child would stay at home, spend the whole day at home, be fed very nicely, different sweetmeats, and yeah, there would be a beautiful bathing ceremony and dressing with new cloths and like that. So Srimati Radharani.
Mataji, she asked what was Radharani's mood? What is her mood? This is what we do for her, bathing and doing Abhisheka. But Mataji is asking, how does Radharani feel? What does she feel? What is her expectations out of us? Probably. Am I correct?
Radharani has come to bless all of us.
Oh,
So, like on that day, she's looking. Radharani is always looking for gopis. So she's looking at our devotion and or whatever devotion we can express to her on that day. She's looking at that devotion and she's noting down, okay, this one here, good candidate. She's noting the who is ready to enter the circle of Radha and Krishna. She's coming for this only, to recruit. As we know, Krishna says that he descends in order to get back all the living entities to him. So Radharani is not different from Krishna. She has the same mood, that all the living entities should be engaged in his service and all the living entities should return to him for his pleasure, for his enjoyment. So she's looking at our devotion. She's looking at our sincerity. This morning we were talking of sincerity. So Radharani is looking at our sincerity. And if she sees that someone is very serious and very sincere in getting Krishna, getting to serve Krishna, then she will bestow all her warm mercy upon that person. And having received the mercy of Sri Radha, we can attract Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
thank you so much, Mataji.
So the next question would be from Bhavna. Bhavna Mataji, kindly unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam.
Hari Bol Bhavana.
You know her.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you
to
for it.
see
Was
you.
such a nice class. Okay, my question is there Parakiya Rasa in Golok Vrindavan or it's only in Bhoma Vrindavan?
Actually, the eternally, this, you say, the rasa is, say, Krishna and the gopis they are related eternally.
Yeah.
But so the parakiya, that is the parakiya bhav, that is not part of Golok Vrindavan. Krishna and Radharani, parakiya, yes, that is mixing the terms. That is the feeling of the gopis always, that they belong to Krishna, but there's always a sense that what do you say? There are always obstacles for them to be with Krishna, and they are let's say, related with a husband. So that creates a mood, an interesting mood. Srila Prabhupada explained that even in the material world, many people are taking such great pleasure in cheating on their wives and cheating on their husbands. And it's exciting. It's very exciting. So that mood is always there in the gopis, that somehow they have to escape a certain type of situation in order to associate with Krishna. That makes the relationship very intricate also and very exciting. But the gopis are eternally related to Krishna. They are actually described as Lakshmis. They are expansions of Srimati Radharani, who is his pleasure potency. So they are all expanded from her. And Srimati Radharani is constantly engaging all the devotees in Krishna's service without thinking herself superior in any way, or without any competitive mood. She never stops anyone from serving Krishna. She never, that is not her mood. Her mood is how to give Krishna more and more and more and more happiness. And she knows that Krishna has manifested all these different categories of personalities to interact with them. So it is said actually that there is Krishna has an unlimited number of qualities, and there are an unlimited number of jivas. So each jiva actually has a specific quality which other jivas don't have. And therefore, Krishna is interested in each and every one of us, because there is something in us that others don't have. And so Srimati Radharani also knows this, that actually Krishna can taste all these different kinds of flowers, and therefore she engages people in her service.
Bhavna, did you get your answer? I think she was asking the location. I don't know whether I missed out. Bhavna? Bhavna
She
is
was
also...
talking about the mood of Parakya.
No, I think the location of the Parakya. Whether it's in the Golok or it's here also in the Bhoma Vrindavan. Bhavna?
It is
correct. Mia. Is she there? Bhavna,
yeah, but she's muted. She's muted. Oh. You have to unmute yourself, Bhavana, otherwise we can't hear you.
No, I got my answer, because I wanted to know whether Parakya Bhav does exist in Golok Vrindavan, but like you explained, even there are difficulties for the gopis to meet Krishna, so it's there also.
Oh, yeah. Good. Okay, that's what I thought I probably missed. Okay, I will.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhavana.
Hare Krishna. I have been notified that it is 10 o'clock in India, and Mataji looks very tired.
And my eyes are closing, yes.
Yes. You look very tired, and it's not fair, because I know tomorrow you'll have another long day. So are there any other questions? Any burning questions? Or we can take them next week. Next week, Mataji will be with us again at 4 o'clock India time.
So next week we resume with the Bhagavad Gita.
We resume with the Bhagavad Gita, and we'll let you know the text. Okay. Mataji, Mansikanga Mataji will let you know the text. Okay, I don't think there are any burning questions. So we'd like to pay Danvat Pranam, and I'll hand it over to Path Prabhuji. Path Prabhuji, are you there?
I don't think he's there. Just wind it up, Kitika. I think he's not there.
Okay, thank you very much, Mataji, for joining this group. I know in the initial we had a little bit of a challenge, but I'm sure all the devotees really enjoyed it, and we really appreciate your time. So on behalf of all the devotees from all over the world, we have devotees from the east, west, and the middle, everywhere. We'd like to chant Hare Krishna. Please, everybody unmute yourselves and let's chant Hare Krishna to glorify Mataji, Prashantamataji. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Ram, Ram, Hare. Thank you very much. Hare Bol, Hare Bol. I've just
Thank
been
you very much
that
to all of you.
there is a devotee from Brazil as well. So from India and from Kenya and from England and Brazil. So you have covered the whole globe.
Brazil.
Mataji.
Oh, Brazil, that's very far away.
Yes, yes, Mataji. Yeah.
Vaishnavi Vrinda.
Oh, Vaishnavi Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Vaishnavi Vrinda. Okay. All right.
And,
Okay, so thank you to all of you for inviting me in this beautiful sangha of Eldoret. Just the word Eldoret is already quite interesting.
oh.
And
That's nice.
we will see if Krishna allows sometime in the future that we can actually see Eldoret live.
Yes.
Yes.
Srila
Yes.
Prabhupada had been here, by the way, Prashanta. You know, the potency of this place is Srila Prabhupada had been to this place. That's why it's... Yes, we found out in 2019 when we were in America, 2018. And what was the other thing I wanted to say? I forgot. We are fortunate that you're... Oh yeah, I wanted to tell you, when are you getting your passport? People are getting their passports. When are you getting? So then we can fly you on a private jet to Kenya.
With 7-Up.
Okay.
Prabhupada
Is
drank
it
7-Up on the plane.
Is it getting somewhere? Have you received any notifications?
No, there's no notifications. I actually last week was trying to contact the lawyer and it was not successful. So when I go next, or I'll inquire again. I mean, we were told that we have to wait. So, and if there's no news for too much time, then we will try something. But we were not advised to try to push and all because it may not be received very favorably. So
because
we
you're
have to
in
be
Delhi. Because Delhi
actually,
wallahs are hard. Yeah.
So
I got a
we
boy in
are
Kolkata who got his
waiting.
passport during the corona, you know. It's just we are waiting for this corona thing to get over so he can come to Eldoret. Okay, Haribol,
Yeah.
I'll let you go before everyone starts cursing me for talking. Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. I'm stopping the meeting. I'm ending the meeting. Hare Krishna.